Now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Well, that intro sure makes him sound like the man of the world, and he is that, Mr. Brandon Rhymes, who is in Costa Rica, and he'll be back for the next show, so everybody relax yourself. This is Ian Beckles filling in for Mr. Brandon Rhymes, and I can't do this by myself, and it's not really about me. It's about my special guests here, and I'm going to introduce them, and I'm going to have them let us know what they do. Now, they're, really veterans to this show. I've hosted about 3 or 4 times, and I've had this lovely young lady on 2 or 3 times, which is okay. Miss Ruth Watkins, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Ian. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. You were talking about you're tired. I am tired as well.
I'm exhausted today.
But you know what? If you ain't exhausted, you ain't trying.
Yeah, I mean, it's like every single day, whether it's at 9 o'clock at night, getting people into home loans, it's what it is. And sometimes you get fatigued, but
Sure.
It's every day, it's end of month.
Yeah. When you work for yourself, that's what happens. You never get to sleep. You don't get vacations and all the above. Now talk to people exactly for what you do for a living.
Okay. So, I've been in the mortgage industry for over 30 years. My specialty, with my background in underwriting, and as long as I've been in the industry and my, thorough guideline knowledge, I can look at a loan from the very beginning, and I can see the outcome before we even get there, so that I know how to create that path to get them to a successful closing. There's tricky things that can come along in the most perfect loan, and it can blow it up. And, having a person that understands the ins and outs from the beginning, that's what Team Go Loans does. Our team is mortgage professionals, bar none, and we are ecstatic, and it is very rewarding for us to come to a successful conclusion for borrowers.
Well, it's all about knowledge, that's for sure. Now, in the middle here, we have Melina Matif. How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
I said that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you. And your company is Gulf to Bay Premier Interiors. Tell everybody what you do.
We make people happy.
That's a good start.
That is a great
By
start.
doing what? You can say that about a lot of things now. People might think the wrong thing.
We can do all kind of stuff.
Okay.
But anyway, so we make them happy by making them comfortable living in an environment that supports the best of them.
Okay.
Something that it's hard to achieve these days, because there is the line between private and personal space is disappearing these days, mostly because we are such a target of social media.
Yes, we are.
So, my job is, when you go home and close this door, to actually feel enticed to be in your home and feel yourself and find your you and feed your you and get your gear on for the next day to fight that, whatever battle is that you want to go out. So, in more distinct terms, we do everything from space planning with a full-size design studio. So we do everything from space planning, interiors, finishes, selections. We work with architects, builders, private clients, real estate agents. We also do, I'm the president for the Real Estate Staging Association Greater Tampa Bay, which is the national organization for real estate staging. So basically, staging is merchandising homes for when they go on the market. We also have fun.
Fun is good.
Yeah, we do all kind of fun stuff.
Fun is good. You've seen our office. We like to have fun, too.
Yeah,
that is
that's
for
all
sure.
about it, yeah.
Now, we have Fred Muth from Tampa Screens and Aluminum. How are you this afternoon?
I'm doing great, Ian. Life's been good. Life's been good.
You look like you enjoy life.
I do. It's just one of them things. Even sleeping. I have great dreams every morning.
I love to sleep as well. I don't dream that much,
I
though.
sleep at the wheel quite often these days.
Do you? That's not so
because
great.
I'm suffering the fatigue factor, the same as you are, Ruth. And in today's world, it's a great feeling, the fatigue factor, because you know what it's all about. It's all about doing business and making a little change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not tired, you're not making money.
That's a fact.
No
True
way.
that.
No way. I mean, when I was 30, I never thought I'd be working this hard at 50.
Milana, wake up.
Yeah, she's falling.
I'm trying to add on my night sleep since Friday.
You missed sleep on Friday?
No, I'm trying to add up the hours I slept since Friday.
I don't
Okay.
think I
Because
could
it's Friday
catch up.
tomorrow.
I don't think I could catch up the hours.
Yeah, it's like 4 hours. I'm happy.
What do you
man.
normally? How many hours you normally sleep a night?
I try to do 6, but I'm between 4 and 5.
Okay, I'm probably about the same thing yourself.
Right there. I toss and turn for 3 to 4, and
Do you
I sleep
snore?
for 3 to 4. Next subject.
So you snore then? You have sleep
Not
apnea?
according,
We all
not,
do.
no, I don't have sleep apnea, but according to me, I don't do anything wrong when I sleep.
Right,
Of course,
right.
that is
I
true.
know that rule. Yeah, I don't do anything wrong either, but my
Oh, I
husband
do.
would say something different.
I do. I'm a snoring son of a gun. I actually have a sponsor of mine, Dental Sleep Solutions, where everybody wears those CPAP masks.
Yeah.
like that's something you wear. That's a
I
prehistoric
don't
thing.
wanna do it
I got
yet.
a mouthpiece I put in, and it stops you from snoring and kind of shifts your mouth so you breathe easier.
Yeah.
Like I went through the whole tests, and you actually stop breathing at night.
Oh,
and I was told I
that's
stopped
scary.
breathing, and there's big, strong, strapping people that die from sleep
Right,
apnea.
that's
So,
right.
and there's a lot of different things that cause a lot of different things, including impotency, and we don't want that.
No.
No.
We definitely don't want that. So, anybody that snores out there wants to stop snoring, you could definitely hit them up at dentalsleepsolutions.com. Now, they told me you were like the freestyle Fred. You're Freestyle Fred. That's your new name.
Well, freeloading Fred.
Freestyling Fred.
Call me what you like.
So, you don't want to talk about screens and
No,
aluminum?
I love talking about screens and
Good.
patios, pulling closures. But you see, I put people to sleep sometimes when I get into that.
No.
Well, I mean, what's there to talk about? What color do you want, Mrs. Smith? Bronze or white? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a little boring after a while.
That's the only two choices, bronze and white?
Yeah, bronze and white.
Okay.
No, it's an interesting business. I've been involved in this business for 27 years, believe it or not. It keeps my interest going because when I walk up to a project, the homeowner, a lot of new homeowners in the area, people from Philly, etc. Right?
Yeah,
Philly,
we'll talk
New
about
York,
that
right?
too.
They have no clue as to what they want or what it's going to look like, and that's my job to basically design it and take it from my head and get it into their head as to how it's going to look. All the drawings in the world really don't reflect to how it's going to look on their home, and
Sure.
And I enjoy that. And we take care. We do new builds. Is what we do from the ground up.
Sure.
We take care of the foundation work and the pavers, etc. So if I can work 7 days a week, I do, but I try not to. I mean, and in today's world, this industry requires you to work at least 6.
Yeah.
I think it's every industry now.
Yeah.
It might be every industry now. If you're working 5, your competitor's working 6.
That's right. If
know.
you're working 5, it's a part-time job.
Exactly.
When you're serving the public, it is what it is.
You can't tell me you turn off your phone on Saturday and Sunday.
No.
If a client calls, that's your client.
That's right.
If the clients have a lot of choices, you know that.
That's right.
I was going to say if you go to the Yellow Pages, I don't think the Yellow Pages exist anymore.
They still deliver them, though.
Did they really?
Such a waste of paper. I feel so bad.
Somebody must be reading it, but there's a thing called Google
Yeah.
that a Yellow Pages. I don't really understand it anymore.
You can find their number and everything about their background.
Absolutely, absolutely. It used to be everybody was making themselves AAA whatever because they'd be the first in the Yellow
Yeah,
Pages and
on the top.
the phone book. I haven't seen a phone book in a long
What's
time.
that other one you mentioned? Google?
Google. You never heard of Google before?
Gargle.
Yeah.
Actually, they own the domain name, too.
Who does?
Google.
Google owns the world.
Yeah.
They if you hear the number of Google hits a day,
Yeah.
it is obscene. And I don't know how much money Google's worth, but I would like at 1% of 1%, and I probably wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
0.1% of 1%.
Exactly.
Would be happy.
It's a huge numbers. And then the numbers that we hear now from I hear numbers in general. And as Americans, you hear a number, you're like I'm redoing my office and something costs $3,000. And I go, God, it's a lot of money. And then I hear the president talking about our deficit's going to go from 21 trillion to 23 trillion. But 24 would be too much. 1 trillion is too much. Trillion is not a real number.
Right.
Nobody's ever seen $1 trillion, and you certainly can't give back $1 trillion. I think everybody knows that, don't you?
Yeah, but Don seems to have it somewhere.
He might. I think he has it in a Russian bank somewhere, hanging out and getting some real good interest on that. Now, how close are you guys pay attention to politics as a pertains to your business? Do you keep in touch with politics?
Not necessarily politics as a whole, but definitely from the stock market standpoint. So looking at our economy from that standpoint, where are rates going and things. But I don't know, with politics, to me, I never had the faith that I could necessarily truly believe what somebody's telling me.
Why would you?
Exactly. And
but that's not really like when I'm on the Bone 102.5. You have to watch yourself when you're talking about politics, because if you're one-sided, half the people are going to change.
Right, exactly.
But my whole thing about politics is I never really believed in it to begin with.
Right.
It's not about Hillary, and it's not about the Dawn. It's just about the system in general. I don't care who's in there.
Broken.
I don't care who's in there.
Yeah.
They're just going to do whatever they can to not make billionaires frown.
Yeah, plus the thing is that, whatever their market campaign is, that they're winning your votes, when they get behind the door in the real job, it changes.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, their ideas and everything are going to be vetoed, changed, and,
It's like listening to a guy in a club that's trying to pick up a girl.
Yeah.
They'll say anything. They'll say just about anything. Don't trust those guys in the club. I'm telling you. Don't worry about that.
My industry is different, though. And again, I'm looking at this from, Gestalt perspective. I'm not looking at just from like one-on-one.
Oh, we're going to get back right to that when we get the other end. And we're going to wrap it up here and come right back. And we're freestyling today, so we're going to go back and forth. Okay. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, I'm Forbes Riley, celebrity TV fitness host and creator of The Spin Gym. I'm here today with Brandon Rhymes, and you're listening to the Consumer Quarterback Show. Great ways to get happy, healthy, and wealthy.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Once again, this is Ian Beckles hanging out in the big boy chair. Brandon will be back real soon. Let's continue what we were just talking about. Elaborate on what you were just about to say.
So what I wanted to, the perspective I was taking is, and people in the general public is not aware, but there is this organization called the Color Council.
Okay.
And it's a worldwide organization, and it gathers twice a year to define the color trends. And color companies like Pantone and all the big people, all the big companies that work with color are very particular and aware of what's happening. And this is how this works. And I'll give you an example. Before the Twin Towers attack, the colors forecasted, because the organization gathers in April and in September, and usually projects the colors for the next year.
Sure.
And what happens is, the reason why color is important is because color sells.
It
right?
sure does.
We buy with our eyes, we eat with our eyes, and the way we perceive our environment is through color, because color vibrates in different lengths. And although we don't, and that this is going deep, but anyway, so the example is, before the Twin Towers attack, the colors for this year were that pretty green, like teal green, and the baby pinks, and this was all forecasted for 2001.
Okay.
Twin Towers happened in September, and the color council reconvened, and the colors for the next year were browns and blues and muddy taupes. And the reason why is because we as human beings surround ourselves with the color that comforts us the way we want to feel or want to get filled. Brown is the color of wartime.
Pink is too joyous.
Pink is too joyous.
It's too joyous. Like, you can't wear a pink shirt after a tragedy. I mean, that makes sense.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
So the reason why politics is important in design, and this is a very long way to go around it, but the short version of it is because it affects the social political environment, and because with the enhancement of media and technology, the qualifiers of color have changed tremendously. Multimedia has taken a front seat. So that's why it's important for the people who are involved in design, just not from a closed perspective, what is the style for the furniture sitting, let's say, for the next year. You look in a bigger perspective, and you're looking at the generation that comes in. How do they vote? What do they buy? What do they eat? And this defines, social political environment defines design goals.
Sure. Well, you have to stay. Everybody in every different occupation has to stay on top of things, and
Correct.
you got to go to these different outings and conventions and make sure you're on top of it. Now, Fred Muth here from Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Aluminum has come up a lot in politics as far as they're talking about tariffs, and how does that affect you?
Did I tell you I toss and turn a lot?
Yes, you have. Is politics doing that?
That's got something to do with it.
Okay. Well, how would that affect you?
The tariff is going to affect our industry. I'm writing a lot of business right now, and I have a theory that a lot of smart people are deciding to move forward with their screen enclosures now before the tariff hits. Because in the past month I've written a lot of
Makes
business.
sense.
And and people will call me and ask me how long the quote's good for, and jokingly I'll say until the tariff hits. And realistically, if you think about the numbers, and I just put this equation together in my head, a piece of extruded aluminum imported today may be $1.22 a lineal foot. And when the tariff hits and we begin to make more in this country and sell it, it may be $2.22 a lineal foot. It may be, because it's based on our labor rate.
Sure.
Okay, and I want to see the jobs come back to our country. All right, but then again, I think how much money is spent on the shipping and transportation of that imported aluminum product. So is my $1.22 a lineal foot a real number or not? So I mean, these are just numbers that I try to equate in the business. I guess the proof is going to be in the pudding in a couple of weeks or a couple of months when the tariff goes into play. And it's not just It's not just the aluminum, because we do the patios and the slabs too,
Sure.
and the prices of rebar are going to go basically through the roof, because a lot of that steel right now is coming from elsewhere. And when we begin to make it again in this country, more of it, I'm sure it's going to be more expensive, possibly.
It's going to affect everybody.
Yeah, like I say, possibly, because there's a lot of money in shipping and transportation and port fees and this and that and the other. You see the container ships coming across the ocean, then they get to the port. That's when the cash register starts to jingle, when they get to the port.
Yeah.
And so
Can't have
that
it
all them fees are tacked on to the imported product. So I'm not really sure where this is going to go.
Okay.
But it sounds like a scary situation when people say 10% on aluminum, 12% on steel. That's a lot of money.
10% on anything is a lot, that's for sure. Now, Ruth Watkins here, Team Go Loans. Our economy is really good right now.
Yes.
It really is. And there's a lot of people flourishing out there, and they're talking about some kickbacks that some companies are getting, and some people are getting more than others. But I think people are in a better situation than they were last year and the year before that. Are you seeing that?
What I am seeing is just the job growth that's been perpetuated here in Florida. Gives people stability and income, which gives them opportunities that they didn't have.
Sure.
And in seeing that, you have a supply and demand issue. So now the people who have the supply, like the sellers, if you've noticed, like over last year to this year, we have a 17% increase overall in value in home. It's kind of resemblance to the 2004, 5, and 6, but it's not driven by the same factors that it was then, where loans, you could get a loan with no income verification and things like that. So the lending rules are more stringent, so you do have to prove ability to repay, but we still have supply and demand issue. Supply and demand is always going to play off of each other.
Correct.
So when people want something, the price is going to go up. And continuing in that growth, it's like, where's the ceiling in that? Where is the top of that where it stops? Because for many years here in Florida, pretty much everything was flat. I know, 10, 15 years, there was zero appreciation. So the only way that you could really save your money is by paying off your mortgage. So you had the equity as the asset, but you didn't get the appreciation. Now a combination of that in the right market, in the right supply and demand, if you happen to be the seller, you could, really make a lot of money.
Sure. Now, Melina, when we talk about the economy and, the money that people have, you have a luxury product. There's no doubt about that. How has it affected you? You have to keep your eye on the economy as well, because people have to be flourishing, obviously, to get an interior decorator.
I was listening to an interview, I don't remember, this morning or the morning before on CBS, and it was an investor in a big financial figure. I failed to remember the name, but anyway, making the same comparison between when the market went down and how we're growing right now, and shall we go down, and is this going to happen again? Because historically, the curve of economy is exactly like that. It will come down. But the bottom line is what he was saying, and which makes sense to me, is when we go on the other side, what do we have?
Okay. What's going to be on the other end?
What's going to be on the other end, right? So people who it's a very interesting scenario, and goes back to the supply and demand curve that Ruth was referring to. There isn't a lot, although a lot is getting built. The demand is bigger than what is supplied. So we have on one side the aging generation, which is going to their last or forever home. That's going to be the last thing they're going to do. So they're sitting on a lot of equity, a home that they live in for 20 years. So yes, they're going to afford the money well spent on a more luxurious, more quality product that's going to take them over for another 20 years without putting a Band-Aid on it and just doing it, for less, cheap, if you wish.
Absolutely.
It's an upward but lateral move.
Yes.
Correct. Correct.
When times are bad, they go to IKEA. When times are good, they go to you.
Exactly.
That's true.
I see a lot of aging in place rather than going to an assisted living facility. In terms of, if you do have a client of mine, they would have a main house. They would prefer to spend the money into, let's make a 2-car garage in the back or a mother-in-law suite. I have the ability to do it. let's design it, let's make it to where, the money are well spent. So it's value for the money. That's what I see. Today is value for the money. And it's not necessarily let's go the cheapest way around, because a lot of the companies that are selling finishes or furniture, where it's made, right? But China also has a little bit higher part, a little higher, not higher end, but a higher quality, if you wish, and you got to pay for it.
Higher quality in the United States?
No, things made in China, made a little bit better. When you're talking about brand names like Yves Saint Laurent, you're talking about higher quality products, custom made, handmade. They are the quality that you pay for. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a balance.
Sure. It's tough when you talk about something like Yves Saint Laurent, because the reason why they have the high quality is also because they have the name.
Exactly right.
They have the name, you got to pay a little bit extra for it. And the unfortunate part is, we don't have a lot of American names anymore that are worth a lot. And that's in everything, in clothing and cars and a lot of different things.
But I see this, though. I see that companies who have started as a small startups.
We got to take a break. We're going to get you some headphones for the next time. Absolutely. We're going to come back. We're going to talk to Fred about his labor that he has going on. It's got to be affecting. We'll talk about minimum wage, the whole 9 yards. Don't go anywhere. Ian Beckles, filling in for Brandon Rhymes. We'll be right back on the other end.
This is Work Done, and you're listening to the Real Estate Quarterback Show, hosted by my man, Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Hi, I'm Jerry from Hot Locks Hair Salon. We are conveniently located at 13414 US Highway 19 in Hudson. I've been a local hairstylist in our community for the last 34 years, 7 of which I was an educator. Our passion is the artistry of hair, and Hot Locks is here to help you achieve your perfect image. You can call us at 727-514-9978.
Listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. I'm going to take advantage of this time to give some love to my own event that I have coming up April 21st. True Leave presents the Flavor of Tampa Bay, which is a music, art, and food festival. It's 100% local, and it's free. It's over there at the Cheval Country Club. Once again, April 21st, we have a bunch of local acts: Jason Beeler, Pitbull Toddler, Infinite Eights, Apple Butter Express, Fred Johnson, Sonia Bryson, a lot of different names. Once again, it's all free. And then we have a Tito's VIP tent and a VIP area. So if you want to hang hang and hobnob with the big willies, look at flavoroftampabayfest.com. That's flavoroftampabayfest.com. You can purchase your VIP tickets, and I'm kind of inviting some of the dignitaries out there. We have some good names coming, a lot of people from sports and media, and it should be a good time. So hopefully we see you there April 21st. Now, Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. I talked about labor. You know, I'm 50 years old, so I've been through a little bit. I've seen a little bit. I remember way back when I was a laborer. This is hardly labor what I'm doing now. Okay, we're sitting inside. It's cool, and I'm not lifting anything. I'm not straining. You obviously have to hire some laborers doing what you do. How hard is that these days opposed to maybe how it was 20 years ago?
In the screen enclosure business, it's extremely difficult. I made a statement several times on this show that if there were 1,500 good screen enclosure installers on the west coast of Florida.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
If on the west coast of Florida 10 years ago, there's still 1,500 screen enclosure installers today.
Okay.
Excellent. It's not something that you can just come down to Florida from another state and start doing. It's a unique talent.
Sure.
I've seen these guys on the pool cages walk across the 2-inch wide beam, telling jokes to each other as they're stretching the screen, rolling the spline in. I'm telling you, it's amazing what they can do. Yeah, so there's a talent there, and you know, I don't advise anybody to try to do that, but these guys are amazing, and to find very good screen enclosure installers is difficult. Okay, now let's go back to the masonry business. Of course, every screen cage has to have a foundation. With the masonry business, it's not so difficult because that is true labor. To dig form, set the steel, etc. That's okay. That's fairly simple. However, it does take a very good finisher to pour the concrete slab and to do the finishing. Now, the guys that finish the concrete, they have to be equally as talented as the guys that roll the screen fabric, in my opinion. But they're few and far between. And you know, if I sell a couple of patios, you know, I have a very good concrete contractor that works with us. Same guy I've worked with for 23 years, and he knows how to get it done. But I'm realizing that I'm pouring a 450 square foot patio, and in that same neighborhood, they're pouring 10,000 square feet of foundation for homes. So the labor factor is how soon can we get to it, and then the delivery companies of the product, they're backed up. You know, I can't tell my customer that at 10 o'clock on Tuesday morning, concrete's going to be there.
It's hard.
That's not something I'd ever make. The statement I'd never make.
Sure.
So, you know, when we talk about this labor situation in Florida right now, it's a tough call. I don't own the company, and Richard Poles owns the company, and I speak with Richard quite often. And a lot of times I hear some frustration in his conversation with me, and I know what it's all about. Labor.
Yeah.
You know,
I get it.
Fred's selling the work. Virgil's selling the work. They got another guy selling the work. Richard's selling the work. His son's selling the work. Who's going to install all this work?
Yeah, but I think that's almost a nationwide issue because
it is.
I think as American people, listen, I love the United States of America. Okay, I think some of the youth growing up, they're misguided in a lot of different ways to where like we had to put it in. Like I had to put it in. I had to sweat, and I don't know if they're ready to do that. And you talk about anybody being very good at anything. If anybody's very good at anything, you're probably going to lose them any minute. Okay, we're talking about labor now. Whether the masonry, doesn't matter what type of work is it. So, do you ever have problems finding help?
Actually, just like him, the average age for someone in my industry is like 52.
The average age.
Yes. So, although there might be, I have a mentee right now who's 27 years old.
Okay.
He just happens to be of the personality that he's a go-getter, so he fits that type of mold to build your own business. Because let's face it, that's what we're doing. We're building a business of clients, of referral sources, of people that trust you to get it done. So if you don't have the stamina to go out there and create those relationships, you're not going to make it. And I know.
But you know he's going to be gone soon, right?
Actually, no, I don't really feel that.
The thing is, if you get somebody that's competent and a hard worker, they're not going to sit around forever because eventually you're going to have to give them a piece or he's going to go do it himself.
You create, actually, it's you can create what you want for your own self. I believe that you are the master of your own domain and wherever you want to go with it. If I'm giving him drops of gold nuggets to create his life, he's not a laborer for me.
Correct.
Okay. So I am, as a mentee, giving him everything that he could succeed for himself, regardless.
Beautiful.
I would never hold someone back and say, hey, you're a laborer, you're working for me. I'm actually educating on how to grow your own business. And it's a business within a business. And you will always need experts that are around you, whether I go on and retire and then he becomes an expert. Ultimately, to be successful, you have to have those people around you, because no man's an island.
Sure. The thing is, you have to, when you teach everybody everything,
It's impossible.
It's impossible, but it's also very, very scary, because they're eventually going to want to work for themselves. Now, Melina, as far as being an interior decorator, like Fred was saying, it's got to be tough sometimes to tell somebody it's going to be done at this time, knowing that you're really depending on a lot of people that don't work for you to get it done.
Yeah, and there is also a moment, and I don't know, maybe it's not that, it's more clear for you, but for example, when we do renovations of types, you don't know what you're going to find when you open this wall.
Yeah.
There you can track leaking water, but seriously, we had a kitchen remodel in South Tampa, and in a very prominent area and a great home, and we removed the old kitchen and we found the garage wall. There was no drywall.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. So we find things like plumbing on the second floor instead of going within the studs, just, a little arch. It's scary stuff that we find out. So for me, it's twofold. One is on my resource side, everything that I use for my projects, having the actual knowledge of product knowledge, be it finishes, types, flooring, walls, furniture, actually having someone that knows what they're talking about. Because you go to Home Depot, and nothing wrong about Home Depot. I spent half of my life there, but people who are working Home Depot, they're jack of all trades, pretty much. The person,
Homers.
Yeah,
They have to be.
You can't really trust these people because they don't have the product knowledge. So I depend on having a doable, valuable product knowledge on one hand, and then I depend on my subs to actually do the work that they're supposed to do.
Sure.
And the skilled labor these days, in between you and you, it's like one of those.
It's tough.
Very tough.
It's very, very tough.
So if you find someone that you work with, then you just pay them well.
The thing is our world was different.
Yeah, it was.
So, again, with technology, it's a completely different platform that people are in today.
You think technology is the reason for it?
Yeah, I think technology has expanded our horizons to many different opportunities that didn't exist, 20 years ago.
I think it has a lot to do with who's growing up and what they're expecting as well. Like I said before, I had to put it in, I had to grind, and I had to sweat, and I had to work. As far as being a laborer, I put it in. There's no, I shoveled poop, literally. I shoveled asbestos. I did, construction work. And I realized that, school wasn't that bad. And I went to school and I realized that this is the way out. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of these kids now, they go to school and you say, what do you want to be? And you know what they say? I want to be an internet star.
There you go.
Instead of going through it and, I know you own a company, but I promise you didn't start off owning a company. Right. You started off probably doing screens, and now you own a screen company. This is my buddy Wayne Gonzalez, started off on a roof. Now he owns a roofing company.
I know Wayne.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well,
he did all the roofs in our neighborhood.
Yeah, Wayne is crazy as hell, but he does great work.
No, he's a super
He does
guy,
great work, and he's going to be there at the end. And I always, refer him to people. But it just seems like nobody's coming up through the ranks anymore because nobody has enough, patience to get it done.
Mm-hmm. And I think what she was saying, and this is one of my mantras, I said this before, I think technology is before humanity. Humanity needs to catch up with technology so we can control it. I think that the technology has created this appealing human condition called instant gratification.
That's correct.
And I think because we want it now, we want it with a swipe of a screen, and because we see it on the screen, we can have it. This has changed us.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct. And it's really easy. I mean, it used to be where when your teacher says, hey, you have to look up this. I had to go to the library. Remember what that is, a library? Remember that?
Yeah.
And get
encyclopedias.
I had an encyclopedia in the whole 9 yards, and kids don't even know what an encyclopedia is anymore.
No.
And that's why everything is crazy. All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back, and we have one more segment, so don't go anywhere. Ian Beckles filling in for Brandon Rhymes. We'll be back on the Consumer Quarterback Show.
Hey, this is Grant Cardone, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show, hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes. Do not touch that dial. I'll come right through the radio and grab your throat.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here.
You're listening to the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Last segment, Ian Beckles filling in for Mr. Brandon Rhymes. And Brandon's a guy that hustles. I've been in this community for quite a while, and I come across Brandon's path all the time, and he's out there hustling and grinding, and I guess we all have to do that as business people. When we talk about social media, how important is social media in your world? There's a lot of actually, people that own companies that still don't really understand social media, and then they'll hire somebody. But how important is social media in your world with your product?
I personally think that social media is an avenue to where you can get exposure to people in a sort of indirect way, so that they can check you out and see, based on your performance and what you've built and your brand and what you stand for. You can put it all out there, and I think it's a great tool to use social media in that way. And if they happen to be looking, I feel that if back in the day everything is word of mouth, but now everyone's on the computer. They're going to be like doing the rocket thing before they even know, because they don't have the background of understanding who that is, who this is, and a mortgage is a mortgage. So I think social media is a great way for people to set themselves apart as individuals.
Sure, and I've said this, and social media, my product is Dignitary, and we always tag things Dignitary Life when people, are going to some of our vendors and our clients, and I look up everybody's social media, and there's some big companies out there where I look up their social media and I say to them, you guys are successful, but when somebody looks up your product and you have a lesser social media basis, people may look down at your products.
Right.
I mean, a lot of people look at that and they said, well, I'm really about word of mouth. Well, that's exactly what social media is if you use it the right way.
I think that's why Toys R Us went out of business, right?
Well, Amazon.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody wants to leave their house and go and like a toy is a toy.
They could have bought into it, yeah, but they could have bought into the stream, but they didn't.
Yeah, but Amazon's going to make all the dang money.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, the same place Toys R Us bought that teddy bear, Amazon went to get the teddy bear, and then they're going to get all the money. Now, for yourself, Melina, for social media, do you run your own social? Your daughter does it, right?
Yeah, mostly. I have a thing with social media and visual because I'm in a visual domain.
You are,
right? Mm-hmm. So there are two sides of it. What Pinterest, and websites like House, which we're on House and we are Pro and all that. There is a very fine line. It gets diluted because, and what I'm looking into, the challenge is credibility.
Sure.
Right? So we all are world famous now because you have a website, I have a website, everybody has a website.
Yeah, everybody has a website.
Everybody is world famous.
I think I have 10 websites.
There you go.
Seriously.
Right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
So where is that line? How do you distinguish between the quality I deliver in my personal communication relationship with you with a client, whereas we all buy Yves Saint Laurent, right? So this is I'm trying to find the happy medium, social media wise for me, to where I can actually establish a person. To me, business is personal relationships.
Yeah, sure.
Right. I don't want to be an Amazon. That's not my thing.
No.
So I need to be able to somehow convey that I'm about you. I'm not about 3,000 others.
Sure.
Testimonials go to support that.
That's the way to do it. I mean, once again, Dignitary, we've done a lot of things as far as marketing goes, and what we find is the most effective is the influencers. Like when I represent a bunch of restaurants, so Dats and Rue, Big Island Pokey, and Smoking Aces. So what I do is, Noble Crust as well. I'll give somebody a $25 gift certificate and said, go enjoy the restaurant and let everybody know how great it is. Like you might have 10,000 followers as a company, but if you're tweeting out and you're doing you're just touching those 10,000. You bring somebody else that has 10,000, and you're bringing their 10,000 in. Now your 10,000 becomes 10,500, and then we keep on growing, as companies. Now, Fred, yourself, not saying what you're doing isn't sexy, but when you talk about aluminum,
I think it is. Come on.
Well, you're pretty darn sexy, but as far as aluminum and screens, that's got to be tough to.
Did you say that to everybody?
No, I do not.
Okay,
I do not. It's gonna be something that's gonna be hard to showcase, more so than being an interior decorator.
Absolutely,
It's got to be a little tougher.
Yeah. Well, it is tough. However, with the experience we have and the number of years we've been in it, it's second nature to us. Okay, so let's touch on social media. Obviously, I'm gonna echo what you said, Ruth. We're at Tampa Screens basically feels the same way that you do about social media. And the girl in our office, she sets all that up. All I know is I look at the phone and there's the leads.
Yeah, there you go.
And a lot of the leads are cold leads, and a lot of the leads are referrals, and a lot of the leads are repeat. So what's sexy in my business is when I get 7 or 8 calls a week from referral or repeat customers. To me, that's very sexy.
Absolutely.
That's that works for us. And the majority of the business that I'm writing is referral or repeat.
Sure.
Okay. But I still think them pool cages are kind of sexy. If you look
They
at
can
them,
be. They can be. And being here in the South, I'm from way up north. I'm from Canada. There was no screened-in pools. I don't remember ever seeing one.
Were there pools, actually? Because you really have
pools,
to winterize them, right?
Not a lot.
You couldn't screen them because of the snow load.
Exactly.
The furthest north that I've seen a cage is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
And that's not that far.
However, the spans on the beams are much tighter than they are down here because occasionally they do get snow and ice up there.
No doubt. And with the northeastern, weather right now, there's so much crazy stuff going on that, we are blessed every time I go over one of the bridges, which seems to be every day. I just drive by and I said, boy, we live in paradise. That's for sure. I'm sitting outside the other night and I was like, I always hear people saying they're going on vacation. Where are you going to go?
Hey, it's a vacation. You can take off on a Thursday if you can get out of work, and go on a Friday, Saturday, come home on Sunday, and feel like you had a vacation.
You can go to
in this state.
Sarasota. You can go to a lot of different places.
Many places.
Yeah, that's why we're very, very blessed. I mean, you see people when we have different events, whether it's the Grand Prix or NHL All-Star, and they're probably looking at the different scenery here in Tampa, and people in Wisconsin are probably saying, what the hell?
I could go to that Tito tent and feel like I'm on vacation.
Yeah, you ain't lying about that.
Yeah.
Well, Tito's can make you feel like you're on vacation, even in your house.
Yeah.
That's very possible.
That's true.
I've drank enough Tito's to be on vacation
Especially
all
when
by
you have
myself.
when you have a screen room and you got a pool to look at it.
There you go. There you
Everybody
go.
needs a Tito and a screen room.
Yes, that's what
I
I said.
agree wholeheartedly.
Buy the cage, we'll throw in the Tito.
There you go.
Can I ask you something?
Please, go ahead.
And I've been meaning to, like, ever since you said the two finishes. Can you powder coat the aluminum a different color? Like,
Well,
Good question.
It's a yes answer, but you're not going to find it in the industry, because basically what they need to do is they need to purchase mill finish aluminum, which is unpainted, and then they send it out for powder coating.
so it's going to be more expensive.
It's much more expensive. I have
But
sold.
still going to keep the warranty, though. Same warranty if you do it this way? Like on the machine? Okay.
Absolutely. The powder coated product is phenomenal. However, the unpowder coated product, which is the standard extrusions that you receive, it's what they call ESP paint. They positively charge the metal, negatively charge the paint, or the other way around. And so it's an electric bond between the paint and the metal. So I've seen the ESP product outlive some of the powder coated products in some cases. And I think that can be based on how they did not correctly treat the mill finish aluminum. In some cases, they'll take a mill finish product and they'll anodize it first, which is a total cleaning, and then they'll powder coat it. And now your price tag is triple. Okay, and I have sold.
What is the lifespan of aluminum?
I have sold.
Enclosure.
I have sold. What was that?
What is the lifespan of an aluminum enclosure now?
You could get 30 years out of
Sure.
them. I've seen
So
them
then,
last
if
that
you
long.
own the property, it's money well spent, though.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm just
in a
saying.
30-year period, it may go through 3 rescreens on a cage.
That's it, but that's not the expensive
Right,
part.
and it's not usually the cage that fails. It's usually the house roof or the fascia board
Yeah.
that fails.
Yeah.
you
Or
know.
your dog ran through the screen.
Well, that's okay.
You know.
And two
Or an alligator coming the other way. You
Oh,
have to
no.
know. Don't forget about that.
Are you supposed to call you when there's an alligator in your screen enclosure? You're supposed to call you.
Call anybody else in the office.
I understand.
I'm out drinking Tito's.
Yeah, I don't mess with that. Is that your drink of choice, Tito's?
It's going to be.
Yeah,
Yeah.
congratulations. Very
Thanks.
nice.
I drank enough beer in my life.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
you have
yeah.
to make a change now.
There you go.
Bring juice for the gator.
Melina, what's your drink of choice?
Right now,
Yeah.
I'm on a Prosecco kick.
Right now, so you change.
Right now. Oh, yeah.
Okay, next time you come to the office, I'll have a nice bottle of Prosecco for you. And yourself, young lady?
I'm a vodka girl.
You do Tito's?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
My Tito's are in the summer.
I like wine also, but if I'm gonna have a drink, vodka's my choice.
To get it in.
Yeah,
to
I
get it
mean,
in the vodka.
I mean, martinis are killer with big O blue cheese stuffed olives. I mean,
I haven't had one of those since probably 2 days ago, so
Yeah.
I'm definitely due for a blue cheese.
yeah, I
olive
mean, it
stuffed.
just is
Dirty.
like,
Yeah.
like dirty.
Yeah, I was at.
no, not dirty. I like it clean, but I love the olives
Yeah.
and the blue cheese or the stuff with whatever.
I don't like it dirty. I like it filthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
You
like it so filthy that it makes you cringe. It's so filthy, no doubt. I had one of those just the other day at Rue, and I enjoyed it very, very much.
Yeah.
People that like Cajun food, you got to go definitely hang out at Rue. And for everybody out there, once again, my festival is going to be April 21st over there at Cheval Country Club. Go to flavoroftampabayfest.com if you want to purchase your VIP tickets. Otherwise, it is free. And anybody out there that has a local product that wants to be in the limelight, hit me up on social media and we'll see if we can get you involved in the event. Everybody, enjoy yourself. Brandon will be back next show. Peace out.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for The Consumer Quarterback Show. Weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380. The Biz.